What's good, y'all? I'm back. It's been a minute from the last review, but we here finally for Wano. And if you haven't been watching or following, I caught up on One Piece in that little break period that they took in 2025. So if you want to see my reactions to all the episodes from Dressrosa up until Egghead, you can go on my Patreon to find it. We're here today for Wano. I'm excited to talk about Wano because it's just a mixed bag for me. So the way that I'll be doing this is I got slides, so I'm going to be talking over each slide, going by each slide. So let's get into it. So they start off with the waterfalls and they going through the waterfalls and stuff. And that's where immediately I could tell the animation had changed. That waterfall scene when they were coming in, I immediately knew, okay, this is where the freaking animation picked up. Thank goodness. That was very exciting for me to see. That's him showing up on the beach. Him and Zoro fighting Trash. What's his name? Depressed Cadavish. I'll just call him that. Depressed Cadavish version. Basic One Piece stay defeating thug stuff, but it's hard. It's hard to defeat him. His power is pretty strong with that card, that trash card trick stuff. But yeah, they take Otama. I'm a person who actually likes Otama. I heard a lot of my people who have watched found her annoying that I know that I talked to. I liked Otama a lot with the mochi gummy thing and everything. I liked Otama. Her voice was cute. Yeah, she was a little damselly, but she's a child. Come on. And then this was one of the funniest parts of the arc with the sumo match that he had, bro. But from here, this is where it officially picked up, and then from this point on, it was all okay. The fight has begun. The battle really has begun. They get the food, get it for the villagers. Kaido comes down and he's drunk. This is drunk Kaido coming down to attack and fight Luffy because he hears that he's here. He blows up the mountain where Odin's palace and stuff was, and I didn't have any emotional investment towards that mountain or anything because I didn't know anything about it. Luffy gets thrown in prison. He gets whooped. One club to the head whoops Luffy. I was like, oh, so he's gonna come back and defeat him. This is gonna be one of those arcs. So I was like, okay, might be a little training montage, whatever. And lo and behold, this prison was sort of that. Him and Kid doing antics and stuff. This was very funny. Big Mom showing up out of nowhere and freaking falling and losing her memory. That was very weird. I seeing the full arc, I understood why Oda did it because he wanted to knock out two birds with one stone, basically, because it just wouldn't have made sense if they were both around by the end of this arc. It was weird to see freaking Big Mom back, but even though it didn't feel like it made sense all the way, I understood why he did it knowing the full arc. Then I finally got to see Black Suit Sanji in his stealth, in his German uniform. That was epic. That was an epic moment. I was very excited. And he put up a phenomenal fight against this dinosaur. What's his name? Page One, I think it was. Page One. And then this was a very emotional moment. But this was a phenomenally well-written character. He had eaten the smile fruit because his daughter had mistakenly eaten because they were hungry. And he sacrificed himself. He ate it with her to, make her feel better about, the condition that she unfortunately was now suffering from, and the rest of the people were too. Then the samurai with Luffy come together. They all break out. This was a freaking blue ball tease that like they actually got beef. I knew that they were going to be friends at the end of the day. Like there was just like a little spat, but I actually don't know who would have won this. I would probably go with Kaido though, probably, but I'm still not even sure. And that just shows how powerful Big Mom is. Yeah, the antics, trash. Then we get to this is quite a ways away. This is right before we go into the backstory. The ships get destroyed, and they're like, "What the heck? What happened? Where are all the men?" In the process, Zoro gets this new sword. One of Odin's swords. Yeah, it was one of Odin's swords given to him by his daughter that we found out was alive. That was the freaking, what do you call, not red light district, but like showman girl, whatever. Seeing him control it, that was fire. And he has an amazing fight later on in this arc. Yeah, now we get to Odin's backstory. Odin is a very, very strong character. In the beginning, I never, I didn't really, how would you say, like Odin. He was alright. He's alright, right? He's definitely strong. He's funny, strong-willed and all of that. But I don't, still find a particular, yeah, that's my guy type of feeling with Odin. I see him more as this is a cool character that they introduced, and I liked Odin. I liked him. They showed him going with Whitebeard's crew. That was an amazing part. Seeing Roger show up as well. You seeing him just one shot Odin, one hit, and it was over. There he goes right there laughing. Then Odin comes back, and the depressing part begins. He started dancing out there to save the people. What's that dude? What's that snake dude name? I don't he's the worst. I forgot his name, but he couldn't just let it lie. He couldn't just let Odin fulfill their bargain or whatever to keep the people safe. You got Kaido involved, and Odin almost had him, but this freaking snake dude's people, bro. They got in the way. They got in the way and freaking ruined it. Odin probably would have caught that W. I think he would have caught that W. And this is something that's a focal point in Kaido's narrative that they went with playing forward, and it made me like Kaido even more. Then we have the Boyle scene. Very intense, very emotional. It definitely impacted me and affected me. It was a lot of valor, a lot of grit, and a lot of strength shown from Odin here. He's an amazing character. What can I say? And then we flash back, and then they basically man, forget it. There's never gonna be a night like this again. This is the prophesied night. We're going over there, and whether it's 9 of us or hundreds or thousands of us, they're gonna go over there to stop them. And somebody had to have snitched and to destroy the boats and told people the location, and to come to find out it was this trash freaking artist thinking everything is a play because he had gotten hurt too by the people in the past. And this is another great story of why just hate never wins. They hurt these kids, and then these kids came back to hurt everybody else because they were children and then they were manipulated. So hate just beckons hate. So instead of responding with hate, the cycle has to end somewhere. These children, the snake dude and him were prime examples of that. To see how twisted and dark they were able to justify what they were doing. Then of course the other soldiers show up and everything. That was fire. And then one of my favorite moments, Jinbei shows up, because that's when the animation took another step up, when they were going into the Kaido's fortress, and they had that sake. I think they put it down, or did they drink it? I can't remember. But that was a great moment. Jinbei showing up just like he said he would. Jinbei, you watch my past reviews, my favorite character aside from Chopper. Then they finally get to the base, Onigashima, and this is where it just, the second half of it is just drug. Shout out my boy Marco. Even though Whitebeard's gone, he's still hanging in there, still helping out the young generation, not letting the young generation just get mollywopped by these old people. I really appreciate that, and I think that's really cool. And shout out Marco. Then this was a great scene right here with them taking on Kaido. Their powers combined, and for a moment I almost believed that they could get him. Luffy gets up there, Kid gets up there, Zoro, Law, and they take on Big Mom and Kaido. This was very nerve-wracking because it's Kaido and Big Mom together. That's very daunting. That's a daunting battle, but these dudes are crazy and they don't care. So it was very fire to see them take both of them on. And then this is why Otama's tight, bro. The mochi gum, whatever whatever that shit is called, bro. The mochi single-handedly turning and swaying the tides without Otama. they would have lost. Otama was tight. Seeing Robin save Sanji right here was very beautiful. Sanji was having his kindness exploited. I really liked this moment, this scene. His last ditch effort was to call on somebody else, and Robin showed up for him. This Chopper, once again, showing why he's my favorite character. Curing everybody, like it's no diff. I ain't gonna say no diff. He was, he was hurting himself, but he pushed through it. You know what I'm saying? Chopper's tight. Chopper's tight. Without him, none of them are here. He is my favorite character in One Piece. Then Sanji came in to fight. Zoom in. And that into that fight was absolutely amazing. They showed him, his like his powers sort of awaken, his bionic side. And that was very cool to see. I did not expect that. And I was like, whoa, this makes sense why Sanji can do certain stuff that he does. It did work. That was tight, and this was a cool fight, especially when it got in a little corridor and he kicked him out. This was very weird. I didn't like this. She turned into this like demon child thing. I don't know what power that is that has her doing that. I don't know what it is. Hey, this lady right here, she was acting like a demon, and then she encountered a real demon, and now she was crying in pain and screaming. So, you messed around and you found out. The more you go around, the more you find. Then Zoro versus King. This was a battle. Zoro had to hang in there. He had to find his weaknesses, and for how stupid Zoro is, just like Luffy, their battle IQ is impeccable, and in long enough time they'll figure you out. And I really enjoyed this fight. The struggle for Zoro to control Enma, it was really something. The animation, I grew to like King a little bit more, because I really didn't like him. I really still don't like him, but I began to understand what he was doing and why he was doing it, and why he sided with Kaido, and how it was basically he's just loyal to Kaido. He's just loyal. This was a great fight. I think this was the best fight of this entire arc right here. Zoro versus King. Crybaby, I'm gonna call him Crybaby for the sake of time. Crybaby brought Luffy back up. Kid and Law were on the lower level handling Big Mom. They did her crazy dirty. Law is amazing. Kid went up a little bit, but he's still trash to me. Law I'll give all the points to Law for real. So yeah. Then Gear 5, Luffy. You can, like I said, you could go watch the reactions. I was very excited, and then I saw the powers, and I was like, "What? What did this just turned into Looney Tunes?" I did not expect the powers to be like that, but I didn't see the full clips. Like when I saw it previously, I didn't get spoiled. I just saw the clip of him like bouncing around on the ground, like it awakening up in him. He was like jumping to the moon, and he was just doing this craziness. I didn't see any fighting or anything like that. It was like 5 second, 7-second clip, and then I turned it off, right? Because I was scrolling, and I knew I was going to get to this point. So Gear 5 Luffy is my favorite Luffy, because the creativity in the fighting is amazing. And I know that this pushed Oda to be creative in terms of how Luffy will fight, and it will have to be quality. Instead of just toon powers, he actually has to have like moves that use the toon power and the smart and the IQ of Luffy at the same time. And you see that in Egghead, where I'm at now, which I think he had an amazing fight. I won't say who it is against if people are not there, but I think he had an amazing mini fight. He defeated Kaido, boom, knocked him out. Crybaby walked up to take back the castle and to take back Wano as the ruler. Sabo was apparently had rumors of murdering Cobra in the Reverie. This was once again always my favorite when they finally end the arc and they get to have the party and they chilling, and these are the moments where you get to learn more as well after. about the world, and more things get expounded upon. This is the part of One Piece that I like and I enjoy the most, the lore aspect of it, and just uncovering the more knowledge about this world and what's going on and the secrets and all of that stuff that's being hidden, and finding all that stuff out. I'm very interested in, and this is really what has kept me going One Piece. I want to know what the One Piece is. They say the One Piece is like it's the thing, and this, it may reveal all the knowledge. I think they said it reveals the knowledge of, yeah, they said it. I think it was in that Oden joint when he went with freaking Roger to find it. But this is my favorite part of One Piece. The lore, finding out the lore after the battle's done, having the parties. It's very fun to watch, and I feel the enjoyment with them after going through the arc, and then of course getting these lore moments, which I absolutely adore. The trash green tree pulls up, gets mollywopped by Shanks. That was funny. Buggy and his men just putting them in bad spots. And then the three of them leaving, they had a funny moment where they had to choose which directions that they went in. But what was not so funny is where these three ended up, specifically Kid and Law. That is my Wano review. My favorite characters was Otama. It would have been Marco, but my favorite character is Otama because Otama was the heart thread of this entire arc. The reason Luffy was doing everything was because of her, and I bought into Otama. She was just a child, and she's just trying to have some semblance of normalcy, friends. She's just trying to eat. You know what I'm saying? She sacrificed her rice for Luffy, and it speaks to how mature she is already as a child. And from that point, I was like, okay, Otama seems like she's gonna be pretty cool. I knew she was gonna have some damsel moments and things like that, but her then coming in the final arc and playing a major role in the reason why they won, that really just set the icing on the cake. And then she's cute, she's adorable. Seeing her get threatened like that, and Nami was trying to save her, and Usopp and things like that. Seeing her getting knocked out, that really hurt me to see that happen. And I was like Nami and them, like, nah, forget all that. You getting taken out right here. Why would you do that to a child? So I really felt for Otama. I liked Otama. She was my favorite character. People could say Oden, but for me, she's my favorite character of this arc. And that's a grade. I give Wano an A. It doesn't get an A plus. Doesn't get an S because it dragged. But it was one of the animation made up for it dragging. The animation made up for it dragging. So again, that's just a One Piece problem in general. That's why I'm looking forward to this Wit rendition of One Piece. I'm really looking forward to Wit because they're gonna speed and they're gonna go through a lot of things that didn't need to be, that took way too long. And with Wit's animation, knowing that they chose to take on a project like this, they plan to sink their teeth into this for a good minute. So overall, this Wano arc gets an A. Great writing, great characters, great setting. The setting, they chose to go ham on the animation when they got to the Japanese version of One Piece, and I think it's not by coincidence, but I'm really saying that as a joke. But the setting, Wano is an incredible setting, from the waterfalls to the colors to the capital. Everything was so beautiful. Even the snow side where Zoro had that amazing fight. Everything was just beautiful. The dresses, the clothing, the food look amazing. Wano is a beautiful place, and the characters in this arc were very well written. The fights were amazing. Gear 5, and then the cherry on top, seeing Kaido and Big Mom get defeated and they're gone for good. Thank you. I needed them. I really wanted Big Mom to go, but the most. I wanted Big Mom to go the most, but getting Kaido up out of there too, I'm happy, just as happy. So overall, I give this arc an A. It's a very strong arc. It doesn't get A plus or S because it dragged. I'm imagining when Wit does it, certain things that didn't need to be elongated, this could definitely have A plus S range potential. So thank you guys so much for watching. I think it's been a pretty long video, and so yeah, I'll catch you guys in, I guess, the Egghead arc review when that gets over. I'm watching that on Patreon right now, so if you want to watch Egghead along with me, go to Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.